Good day, everyone. Good afternoon, good day, good morning. What are you saying this week, Rich?
I've completely forgotten what we literally just discussed.
You're going Greek, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh, Kalimera?
Kalimera.
There we go.
Or Kalimera to all of our Greek listeners as well. I think that might be morning. I don't know if that's morning or day. It might be day.
It's a greeting.
You get
it works. Yeah, that's it. I'll have to apologise. I'm absolutely knackered. It's been a long couple of days.
And this is a late recording for us as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at that, 21:42. We're a pair of dirty stop-outs.
I'm normally in bed by 9:30.
Well, as all sensible people are, to be quite honest. I feel like a dirty stop-out. I was also going to say, actually, this would have been like a natural segue if I'd done it 3 or 4 sentences ago. But we've got a cracking little kebab shop near us now. It's a Greek place called Mr. Souvlaki, and on their wall they've got bits of Greek to teach you how to do, try and order in Greek if you're feeling
adventurous,
fruity enough. I don't know. But I think Kalimera is still the only Greek I know. Can I have a pork gyros pita? Is also still working on that basically.
You'll get there. I feel.
Yeah. But anyway, we've digressed early doors. This week, thank you for joining us again, everyone. We are doing another of, I think this was a little bit on the back of our recent discussion about Cerveja Cristal. And we did mention that this was coming up. We are drinking Cristal, which is Portuguese beer, part of the Super Bock group. Which, to be honest, a lot of people I don't think would necessarily recognise instantaneously. It's one we used to drink in Portugal, and I wanted for Rich and Joe, who unfortunately is not with us tonight. It's just Drabbers and I.
He's really inconsiderately got jet lag. So
yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it's just made up. Really, he just doesn't want to be with us.
Yeah, if you're hard like us, you just shake it off.
Just get on with it.
But yeah, so Cristal is what we're getting our laughing gear around. But first, just to give a little bit of variety of voices and structures of the episode, Rich is going to talk to us about a hot topic.
Well, yeah,
we got one.
We've got one. I managed to find one of those within the space of you sending it to me.
Quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround of that. I literally scoffed a pizza and Googled something. But this week we're going up north towards Manchester, and to discuss a less than perfect beer festival that currently the pictures are doing the rounds of, which it just seems to be summing up 2024 of just poorly organised, expensive events. That
it's the UK in a microcosm.
Yeah.
Basically. The thing is, there's lots of like festivals you can go to these days, like up and down the country, all different types of things. I don't know if we mentioned it when you guys were here, but Cheltenham, my hometown, styles itself as like the festival town, and it's got like a literature festival, a jazz festival, and food and drink and science and all this sort of stuff. And to be fair, some of them are quite good. However, I get the impression with this Manchester one, it sounds expensive and dreadful.
Well, yeah, so it was the first International Brewing and Cider Festival it was held in Manchester. And we're just looking at the pictures, and it is just a desolate warehouse with nobody in it and just kind of no atmosphere whatsoever.
Couple of string lights and kegs of beer. And empty benches by the looks of things.
And I was going to say, but the setup reminds me of a Canberra beer festival that I would go along and maybe pay £5-6 entrance fee.
You not part with the King's Ransom.
Part with the King's Ransom. You get given your free glass, and then you go and buy tokens on everything. But how much did they pay? It was like
$38.50, I think.
$38.50 for quite the most upsetting looking place I've ever seen.
Bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It did not look good. And I'm sure the numbers that I saw about this were like 800 people had been through it across 2 sessions on each of a Friday and Saturday. But I think some of the pictures looked like that might be a slight exaggeration of the numbers. And I think I read some comments that some of the people selling beer had only sold beer to about 20 people, and 10 of them seemed to be from other brewers and stuff like that. So I don't think it went down very well. I wonder what they were missing.
Well, I was going to say, because they only got, so the £38.50 came with 6 tokens for half pints on selected drinks. And I'm thinking we paid £50 for unlimited alcohol across hundreds of brewers at the one we normally go to in London.
Yeah, it doesn't compare, does it? Really?
Well, what? So yeah, £38.50 for 6 half pints. That's just that's astronomical money.
Yeah, it's not. Well, I think they worded it as they're going to be learnings for next time, but it's almost a bit like, you're going to have to go back and start again. I think.
Yeah, just don't charge £38.50. It's started with, but yeah. Well, yeah. Give us a shout if you were there though. We would actually know what it was like, because we were only just getting secondhand information and sparse pictures that we found on BBC.
Yeah, if you're one of the couple of dozen people who attended, we'd be interested to know. And well, hopefully, whatever event you go to next will be a little more enjoyable anyway. But we've got to try and we'll be eyeing up one in Poland to try and attend this year.
Yeah, well, I think we might have cut it a bit too short to go to, because it looks fantastic. But yeah, we'll have to maybe next year we'll stick to one in the UK this year.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, well, let's move on and we'll talk about Cristal, Cerveja Cristal, Portuguese, and part of the Super Bock group. And that's a funny one because I was looking into them and they're a bit of a strange. It's one of those breweries that also you go and you'll have a look on their website and that sort of thing, and it's actually one of those ones that's quite corporate and it's about like the structure of the group and that sort of thing. So we had a little bit of a further look around Untapped and all the sort of normal sources for where we look at what beer is all about, what other people think of it, and that sort of thing. So actually we're going to try and get into some reviews in a little bit as well. But this is a beer that I used to drink. Again, it's part of our swap shop thing, so I brought this for the guys to have a taste of. And sorry, I'm just going to have a little bit more myself because I blooming love it. This used to be a beer we drank in Portugal, and as far as I'm aware, not exported to the UK as frequently as some of the other classics. Although where we used to drink this was just down the road from Sagres, and lots of people will remember or recognise Sagres. And I'm sure actually Super Bock itself was the other one that used to be fairly prevalent around there. But I don't know, this one always struck me as kind of like the locals who knew would drink Cristal, and therefore I made me think like I was, it gives you that sort of self-centered, smuggish sort of, this is the real beer to drink. But this used to be available in a little, not a supermarket, like a little grocery store opposite where we lived, and you could buy it in individual bottles for 50 euro cents. So like 35p a bottle.
Oh, that's the price you want.
And in 30-degree heat, sort of 6 o'clock sundown of beer, you cannot beat it. I'm quite pleased that I've opened it now, and I mean, we talk about it lots, but it did take me back. It's not quite the same as Once You're There, but I really like it. It's not. Oh, go on.
No, I was going to say I was just agreeing with you. This takes me back to being. The taste of it takes me back to being on a Mediterranean beach and those kinds of beers that you're going through. It also confused me a little bit because Cristal is also a very
thanks to champagne.
It's also a very popular beer brand in Peru, or Peru's number one beer brand is called Cristal. as well, and that's why I got a little bit confused because when I was in South America, I was drinking a lot of a different Cristal. It's probably a little bit heavier and a little bit darker, but the flavour and the texture is taking me back to being on a beach and enjoying it being ice cold as well.
Yeah, it's been sat in the fridge for a while, and I'm already planning the next one. I did get a few more in my... Unfortunately, I wasn't able to source it at the equivalent of 50 euro cents per bottle, unfortunately, because I think wherever I got it from, it was getting sent from a long way away.
Yeah.
But the whole time I'm drinking it, I'm plotting the next one. Basically, I didn't quite appreciate... I thought it was a little bit more mild than this in terms of the percentage. It was 5.1%.
Yeah.
And, it's just... Like for me, I know a lot of people. This is it's a pilsner, and I know for a lot of people, pilsner and lagers just get lumped in together. And some people will tell you that you can't taste the difference from one to the other. I'm not someone who believes in that, and I probably can't do the beer justice in terms of articulating why it's so good. But it is phenomenal. This one, a pilsner hop, I think might be something to do with it. It's crisp, it's refreshing, doesn't taste too... Like, there's a maltiness, but not too malty for me. That's just a little bit of a inconsequential. Yeah, it's like, it's a bit, but not too much. You know what I mean? But it's just crisp and
it
smooth.
Really does hit the spot. It is, in essence, it's a holiday beer, I think is probably a nice way to describe it.
Yeah.
It's the kind of beer you go on holiday and you're like, I'll try a Cristal. And you're sitting in the bar clearly on on a metal chair, because they love a metal chair in Europe. Sort of thing. And you're just sipping away. And you know what? I think we don't normally agree on beer, Barbara, but this is an absolute stonker that you've picked.
And it comes back to a couple of beers we talked about in the past, in that I think, like the label and the bottle is like unremarkable. It's got a real nice Portuguese sort of theme. It's like that red and green, and there's a white, it looks like a seagull on it. And it speaks to me of that. We don't need to mess about with what goes on the label, because it's just a really solid beer. I don't know why I find the kind of traditional, almost brown style bottle makes me think of it as like quite an... I mean, actually, to do it its dues, it's also been brewed since 1890, so it has got the history behind it as well. But it just screams to me of that non-messed about classic formula that's worked very well, basically.
It feels like they've gone, you know what, we've nailed it, absolutely nailed it. We're just going to keep doing it, and we're not going to change.
So to that end, I was going to go through and be like, well, should we look at what other drinks they do in their selection? But because they're part of the Super Bock group, so Super Bock is one of them, and I know they do. I think it's the same group that possibly actually do Summersby ciders. Yeah,
they do. I'm just looking on the Super Bock group site now. They do Summersby, Fruitus Cordial, and a Japanese rice lager.
I saw this, yeah. I also saw the Owl India Pale Ale.
I haven't got that one, but I've got a Bengal Amber IPA as well.
So, I mean, to be honest, those, I'm sure there were going to be some, but also because I know that they are part of almost like it's like a drinks group, isn't it? So they do the booze and the I think they do like a juicy, I think that was what you mentioned actually, was the juicy options. But I wasn't expecting to go and have a look at these guys and see, they're doing lots of weird and wonderful, crafty stuff to, challenge your perceptions of what a beer can be and that sort of thing. But, it's very good and it's very enjoyable. I don't have enough for you on the history of Cristal, really.
No.
Super Bock Group suggests it's not exactly a family affair these days.
No, I'm just looking, and it just seems to be they've just got the history of just the Super Bock Group. and just how they've slowly built up over the years from, by the looks of it, 1890 was when they first, well, that's when the beer came into fashion. And that's just it's just been a steady progress from then, really, up to apparently no more history after 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to have a bit of downtime at some point as well, haven't you?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say anything, but it was when they introduced the non-alcoholic beer.
Okay.
So
I should also mention, actually, for a few people, for anyone who's thinking about having a look into the beer as well, I hadn't quite appreciated it. It's also kind of referred to as Cerveja Cristal White or Branca. So if you are having a little look for it, that might be the way to actually track down a little bit more information. But yeah, Super Bock Group tends to put you in there. Have you tasted have you drunk much Super Bock?
I've tried it a couple of times, but because it was on offer in Lidl when I was doing some shopping. So I was
it often is, actually.
Often is, yeah.
Is that, and have you ever tried Cerveja?
I don't think I've tried Cerveja.
So, yeah, to be honest, it's just a weird one. I mentioned that pretending to be the person in the know in Portugal, drinking Cristal. We often had the choice of Cristal or Cerveja, and I didn't get on with Cerveja at all.
No.
I say didn't get on with it at all. For someone who, has at least a passing fondness for all beer. But that was almost like to me, it was like the Portuguese Fosters.
Ah, wow. Everyone's got to have them though, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. And without them, you wouldn't appreciate the ones you love as much, would you? Really?
That's it. Yeah, you've got to have the bad beer to appreciate the good beer.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So to be honest,
I'm just trying to peruse their website. Yeah, I'm just trying to peruse their website. It's just not very beer related in that they're just more worried about the actual group and who they are and how many people they employ.
Yeah, indeed. And do you know what? For the purposes of you, the most important people here, the listener, I mean, equally, I wouldn't. It's one, if you come across it or you are in location, definitely give it a try for me. But it's not really like to come because I never see it here in the UK, and would totally understand people not getting it shipped across because you have to buy it in bulk anyway. But I love it, I adore it, and it's wonderful, fresh, thirst quenching, and lovely.
It will take you back to being on your summer holiday, sitting on the beach, kind of not wanting to go back home.
Yeah. And it's clearly a tried and tested formula.
100%.
That does not need to be tinkered with. So yeah, I mean, that's probably it in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah. More than likely,
should we have a look at some numbers as well?
I'm just trying to find some numbers. That's normally Joe's job, but
you Insta and I'll Twitter.
Yeah, wait there. Cristal Beer Instagram. Aha. Give me 1 minute. It's loading. No, this is a woman called Cristal Beer. Not what I want. Okay, let's try this one.
The thing is, it's also one. It's very difficult to differentiate, particularly after this hot topic from a couple of weeks ago when Cerveja Cristal was doing the rounds with with the Star Wars advert. Now that's all we're going to get, basically.
No, this is a different Cristal beer.
Because I actually think, we mentioned two of them. I think there's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I can't find a Cristal Beer Instagram page.
Superbock have got 8.8k on their Twitter.
Okay, well that's
somewhat relevant.
Wait, let's try that then. Let's try Superbock.
I've got on Crystal. I've got on Crystal from RuPaul's Drag Race. That's not the one I was thinking of.
Okay, well I've got a Superbock Instagram. And they've got 148k followers.
Oh right, okay, yeah, no, that's quite a few then in that case, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a fair few. but it's only got the Super Bock beer on here. It hasn't got the Cristal beer.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you, really. I mean, that's probably the key takeaway from our review so far is, you know what, Super Bock Group, we really like Cristal. Why don't you open up to us about it and and tell us the secrets of what makes it so good? Because it's a belting beer.
It's a delicious beer. It's better than Super Bock, and I've had Super Bock.
It is better than Super Bock. Why is Super Bock so popular when Cristal is a nice beer?
Screw you, Super Bock.
Yeah, I know. And don't worry about Segres, everyone. He's not the one, personally. But
you don't need it. But Cristal, get on it.
I'm going on holiday to Portugal. I'm doing it.
In fact, I'm going to Portugal in October.
Brill. Yeah. Well, okay. Brill. That's our episode.
That's our episode.
Done.
Drink Cristal.
Drink Cristal. It's lovely.
All right. There we go.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber,
and Simo,
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.